Let's move now to the world of startups. They are always exciting with a lot of energy and buzz around them. And so many startups in AI are doing path-breaking work. We now get a chance to look at some of them in Germany. Who are they? How are they doing? What are their challenges? What is their evolution and the impact they created and continue to make? To take us into the world of startups in AI, I welcome Vanessa Kann, Managing Director, KI Bundesverband.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome and hello to everyone out there in the world. I'm going to talk to you about AI startups in Germany, the evolution and impact we've seen in recent years. Just to give you a short background on who we are as a German AI association. So the German AI Association represents now more than 380 AI companies. They all focus on the development and application of AI technology, so mainly with SMEs, with startups, and also experts in the field. And in doing so, we've become Germany's largest AI entrepreneur network. On the one hand, we're a political voice, so we represent our AI companies in politics, so both in German politics, but more and more also in Brussels through our political network there, the European AI Forum. Also, we're an enabler and connector. We're trying to bring AI companies together so that they can exchange and learn from each other. And also, we're driving innovation in the established companies so that they manage the digital transformation and become more innovative in the future. It's our mission to strengthen the digital sovereignty of Europe. Right now, we're becoming more and more dependent on big players in the world, and we really want to get AI products also from startups, from SMEs in the European Union on the road. We're trying to strengthen the AI ecosystem in doing so. So we're bringing the brightest minds in the European Union together. And also we want to enhance the openness and innovative strength of our established companies. We're also very present in the European Union. So we launched the European AI Forum, which is a conference, but also a network of AI associations that are similar to us in the European Union. So from the Croatians to the Polish associations, the Dutch associations, we're quite present all across the European Union and are becoming a common voice in Brussels, because that's where a lot of regulation data is very influential for AI companies in the European Union is made. So that's where we want to be present together. But let's start into the topic of how the German ecosystem is actually looking like right now. Because in the end, we actually have the ideal preconditions to be leading in the field of AI when it comes to the future. So when it comes to like the upcoming years, I think. We are already world-class when it comes to AI research. So you can see this when you look at the number of scientific papers on the topic of AI. The European Union is right up there with China and the US. Establishing a lot of scientific papers, releasing them and being read and acknowledged all across the world. So that's one of the most, the biggest strengths we really have, being world-class in AI research already. The second point, and I think that might not really come as a surprise to you all, is we have a world-class industry. So when you look at the top countries in the GDP, which is a great indicator of measuring the industry impact, the industry strength in the world, Germany is on the position number 4. So we're very strong when it comes to the industry, and our industry is in front of this process of digital transformation, looking also towards AI and how AI can help here to get us through the digital transformation and get us set for the future. So that's the second big asset that I really see next to research being strong when it comes to our industry. But at the same time, I also see that we're not really known for building AI products in Germany, but also in Europe in its entirety. So there's different landscapes out there. This is one from CB Insights, for example, and they plotted down all the AI startups that they find most promising in the world. And when you look at the number of startups that is actually from Germany, you can see that only 2 of them here in boxed in red, Connex and Rasa, are 2 companies from Germany. But other than that, there's not too many AI companies that are worldwide known and really being visible on a global stage. And as a German AI association, we're of course looking at what are the reasons for this and how can we help AI companies in becoming more visible on a global stage and becoming, also scaling, of course, to international, to the global market and becoming more visible. And 3 reasons are basically the ones that I see as being at the core of this problem. One of which is being AI research is not really being transferred into products and services. So all this kind of strength that we have when it comes to research institutions and publishing papers, we're still seeing that spin-offs are facing really big obstacles here. So spin-offs as the companies that are building on research results and building out of research institutions, they often have to share revenue, they have to share also part of their equity, and that is a huge obstacle for spin-offs because they're actually starting with their handbrakes on when they kind of found their company and starting with their company. And for this, it doesn't really come as a surprise that AI companies in Germany are still rare. So if you compare it, for instance, to Israel, and I really like this comparison because Israel is only country as small as one as Germany's states, the state of Hesse, for example. But Israel still has many more AI startups compared to Germany. So in Israel, you have around 1,300 AI startups, while in Germany, you only have 300. And that eventually leads to that this is the landscape of German AI companies in Germany, with around 300 startups. And this is the one of Israel. So it's just a huge difference in numbers. And that, of course, is also one of the reasons why it's difficult to become more visible on the global stage, because there's just not so many AI startups that are competing to become visible on a global stage. The second reason I see is that AI companies are still seeking clients. So even though we have a strong industry and many industry partners are also looking at the digital transformation and are looking at AI, we still see that the German industry is not really investing in AI products and AI projects. When you look at the total, for example, only 16% of AI, of established companies, so of the German industry, have invested in AI in the past. Through COVID, we've seen a rise in this. So around 24 will be investing in 21 or have invested by now, or are planning to invest in 2022. So have this plan of really going deeper in the field of AI, starting projects. But still 57% have not actually considered starting in AI projects, are not investing yet, are not planning to invest. So that's a big obstacle that just many of the German industry are not really investing in AI solutions right now. And this, of course, becomes more visible the smaller company is. So the German SME landscape, Deutscher Mittelstand is called, is very well known across the world. But still the smaller company is they're not really investing in AI, and the bigger company gets, so at around 2,000 and more employees, the corporates around here, and also the larger SMEs, they're starting to invest more and more in AI. The discussion is winning in speed, though, when it comes to the German industry. So, especially due to COVID, many have considered AI as a solution to becoming more stronger in the future, and also managing the digital transformation. In 2018, for example, still 87% have said that AI is not a topic for them. Right now, it's only 59% that are really saying it's not a topic for them, and 30% have started to plan and discuss AI projects. 8% are already deploying AI. So you do see a rise in these numbers, and you do see that the SMEs are considering AI more and more. But it's this often this knowledge gap that we see that's especially high or difficult to get around, that many SMEs or many established companies know that AI is a topic now and it's a future technology, but we really have to get there that SMEs understand what AI can do for them. And that's a huge challenge. So getting towards the use cases from the theory to kind of knowing more the practical side, what AI can do for them. And then third point I want to raise is that our AI companies are still lacking funding. So there's a huge gap that you can see between the need, what AI startups states they actually need in funding, and what the capital market is giving them at the moment. 57.5% of AI companies have stated that venture capital funding is their preferred source of funding, but only 21.1% are actually getting venture capital funding. So the gap is around 36%. So it's quite huge between that, what is actually the need and what the capital market is giving them. And this is becoming especially visible when you look at the later stage capital, because this is the capital that's actually missing. The per capita investment in AI startups is barely at $4 US. In the US, to just give you a comparison, it's at $57 US. In Israel, it's the 30-time amount of this at $118 US. So Israelis are getting 30 times as much per capita investment in AI startups as German startups are getting. And this, of course, is leading to the fact that companies in Germany are staying quite small. So you can see that this lack of funding, this lack of clients, and also, of course, the lack of companies that are being established on the basis of research institutions, research results also, is leading to the fact that companies are staying small. While AI companies in the US, for example, in Israel, China, just to name some examples, can really invest in marketing, become visible, can scale, build up their team. The companies in Germany have to invest in a very small team in building their product and perfecting their product, because that is actually what companies and also investors in the European Union want. They want AI products that are perfect, even though you don't have the financial backing to build up a team and really scale in that sense. This also opens, even though it's of course a big problem, because it's the problem why we're not really visible on a global stage, but this opens many opportunities. And I kind of want to emphasize this, because I think it's really one of the most prominent examples and ecosystems that is very understated on a global level, and where investors and also companies, I think, are slowly getting there and seeing that the European ecosystem has much to give, because this opens the opportunity on the one hand for high quality. You can see that AI companies here really have to perfect their product. That's what companies want. That's what investors are looking for. They want AI products that are perfect in that sense, if you can actually have perfect AI products, but they're very much looking at a high quality, and I think that's definitely one of the points that our ecosystem can give here. Also, of course, it's the matter of data privacy and data security. So a lot of SMEs, for example, are looking at data privacy and security issues. They don't really know how to deal with the data regulation, what they're allowed to do, how they can share their data. So AI companies here have to really emphasize and find solutions how they can implement AI products without actually neglecting data issues. So they're thinking both of this very strongly together, because that's what the European customer actually wants. They want AI products without neglecting data issues. Also, I think one of the major strengths is, of course, the industry-specific solutions that we have here. So many experts are coming from industry, have worked for a long time in the established industry, and are finding use cases that are very narrow, that are very specific to certain sectors, and are developing AI solutions, especially here, that are very niche. And I think you can find a very big strength in manufacturing, Industry 4.0, just to name a couple, where of course you have this entire background of working for a long time in the industry and finding solutions on the digital transformation of this sector. And that's where a lot of AI companies are building themselves. And then lastly, also the issue of values, of course. So companies also want ethics by design, value by design AI products. And that's something that AI companies have to give to them. So there's not an AI company that cannot discuss the issue of how to keep bias small and how to make the algorithms transparent. And that opens a huge possibility also to innovation, of course. So you have issues like federated learning, for example, that is providing a solution to issues of data privacy, security, but also values like transparency. And that's something where Europe is becoming stronger and stronger, because that's where a lot of innovation is happening, and where AI entrepreneurs are seeing a huge chance for the European market. So I just want to kind of close in saying the AI ecosystem here has much more to give than I think you can see on the first sight. And it's a ecosystem that's very underestimated. And I want to invite you all to really look at the companies that are here, and also kind of attending the conference today. I know there's a couple of AI startups from Germany, from the European Union, that are buzzing around here. So yeah, get in touch. I think especially when it comes to quality and ethics, values, data privacy, European startups have a lot to give here. And I want to close in saying, so let's tackle AI together on a global stage. Let's find solutions to these value issues, to these ethical issues that AI entail, and let's work together in building strong AI products. Please reach out if you're looking to work together more closely with AI entrepreneurs from the European Union. We're happy to help, and I wish you a very nice conference.
Thank you, Vanessa, for your great talk.